Hi, my name is Jake Miller, and you're on oomph.com under our art sector. This contributor has been a robot, a dinosaur, and well, he's been to space and back. Rhys Darby is a man who has always dreamed big. He's always had a vision for himself doing extraordinary things. He's always looked at the bigger picture. We're sitting down with Rhys Darby in Greymouth to discuss what it takes to achieve on the global stage in the arts. Oomph, wise words away. Alright, Rhys Darby.
Yes.
Thank you very much for joining us today under Oompha's art sector. So it's great to have you here. Oompha is all about inspiring people to do extraordinary things. So throughout your life, who or what has inspired you?
I just wanted to make sure it's had Oompha on that side as well as this side. So I'm just... Oompha. What was that question? Sorry. Yeah, I'll be throwing you off.
Who or what has inspired you during your career?
Wow. Gee. Kicking off with the big ones. Inspiration. Well, many things. I take inspiration from a lot of things I see and hear all through my childhood, I guess. Achievement, the greats, from Baron von Richthofen, or you might know him as the Red Baron. From that World War I ace through to the entertainment of Monty Python. I was obsessed with that around my early teens. British comedy in general after that. And really, yeah, I think what inspired me was that these people that lived a long way away, achieving these great things, making names for themselves on the planet, I believed I could do it as well, just as they had done it. And it didn't matter where I was from.
Okay, so you've obviously done some extraordinary things, from playing Murray in Flight of the Conchords to Norman, the boss of Jim Carrey's character in Yes Man, and even appearing in a Nike advertisement. So did you always dream of doing big things?
Yeah, even from an early age, I saw myself as someone who would be achieving great things. I pictured myself in command of many men, or flying in a giant airship, or sliding down a huge sand dune in the Sahara. So I think visually, in my mind, I was already up there. And you can ask some of these comics, even of my ilk. Back in the day, I would sort of... I would say, you know, I'd joke about and I'd do a gig and I'd say, well, I've got to go, my helicopter's waiting for me, you know, and so I was pretending that I was this great thing, and we used to all laugh at it, you know, and then of course something did happen, and I did start to achieve big things internationally. And I think so right from the beginning, I saw myself as someone that, even if it was never going to happen, in my mind I was already there. And that kind of helped provoke myself, I guess, so that when things did happen, I felt like, okay, this is not a shock. I know. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. So the belief was always really important.
Belief, self-belief. And I think even in the early days, you know, New Zealanders in general, we didn't have a lot of self-belief. We sort of believed that we were here on this little islands down in the bottom of the South Pacific, and that maybe we didn't matter so much. But I always didn't see myself as that. I always saw myself just as in general, just a human with a lot of endeavours.
Yeah, and one of the key groups we're targeting it for are people who are in jobs, hate jobs, and want to change but need some inspiration to change. Yeah. So you're somebody who has in the past changed careers from obviously army-based career to arts and comedy. So what would you say to them?
Absolutely. I mean, I was kind of late to mature, and I didn't know where I was heading or what I was going to do, and I think that's okay. You don't need to panic at an early age. Maybe things are different now, and decide where you want to be right from the onset. I think, I had a slow progression of where I was meant to be. I found it out as I went along. And so, yeah, I started off as a soldier, and I tell people that now, and they say, why did you, what were you doing there? Why were you wasting your time there? And I said, well, I wasn't, because that's what I wanted to be. And I may have in those days seen myself as some sort of commander that was going to be leading something, and then realised in my time there that really I was just enjoying playing the role of a soldier. So I then became really interested in acting, and so it was really the dress-ups that I was more into. So you'll find there's a reason you're doing whatever job you're in, even if you don't like it. There's a reason you're there, and it may be, it may come down to desperation. It was the only thing available, but there's something about that job that is you, and you'll find that within you, and then it's a progression. When you want to be somewhere else, you'll find a means to get there, and things come into light, and I really look for the signs and things like that. So when I went to university, when I left the army, my next idea was to be a journalist. I wanted to get into journalism, so I had to go to university. It was a postgraduate course, so I knew I had to do at least a 3 or 4 year degree before I even got to that point. And then that's where I found performance, the comedy club at Canterbury University, writing sketch comedy. And then, I found myself on the right path. So it was really, I feel like, it's almost like life's a choose-your-own-adventure book, and you're making your decisions. Some of them are wrong, but you're always going to end up maybe either rereading the book again, and then taking the right path, or a path will come to you if you just keep being honest with yourself.
So when you look over your whole career in acting and comedy, what do you see as your start as such? What do you believe was your initial break to sort of get you into it?
Definitely the choice of going to university, and taking that choice at a later stage in my life when I was ready. So I didn't go in straight from school. I wasn't 17. I did some time in the army to kind of grow up and mature myself and get self-confidence as a soldier, but also listening to commands and rules. And I think taking that kind of self-discipline into my adult life was the right move. And without even thinking about it, being in the military was a good thing for me. And then once I got into university, I felt like the flower had opened up and all of these opportunities were given to me, and I was ready for them. And I don't think if I would have been ready if I was only 17, 18, I would have probably just, gone silly. So I was more mature, and then I found that entertainment was what I was good at. So performing on stage, really in those university years, 95 to 99, hooking up with another guy to perform with. He played the bass, I wrote some songs. Recently granted, the comedy duo was formed, and we knew for the first time in both of our lives, he was a chef back then, Grant, and I worked at the barbecue factory with this idea of being a journalist at some point. But when we got together and performed, we found that was our true love. And then when we gained an audience, I think we both knew at that point, well, this is making us happy and it's making other people happy. The next thing is, okay, how are we going to throw money into the mix so we can do this for a job?
So those people out there whose goal, their dream is to be an actor or an actress or a comedian, what would be your top bits of advice for them?
I think don't feel as though you have to jump into it at a very early age. Go and do other things. Enjoy yourself. Don't get too stressed about wanting to be the next big actor or comedian in those early days. Do it as a side project and dabble at it. But it's just really get some life experience, I guess, and make sure that's what you really want to do. Because if you dive in too early, then you find out that either you're not as good as you think you are, or that in those early days that it's not really what you want to do. You might get a shock. You might get to the age of 25 and realize, I'm no good at this, or it's not what I want to do, and now you're too old to do something else or something. Because I know you've got to get into things early these days, but I don't know. I guess I've talked myself into a spiral there that doesn't make sense. But I think just, yeah, I tell you what it is. It's be open to more than one thing and try and do more than one thing. You know, you're an advocate of that. You should have your eggs in quite a few baskets and juggle a few plates, and then you'll see one of them's spinning perfectly, and that's the one you should keep your eye on.
So, does New Zealand present the opportunities for people who are who want to go global in this acting and comedy field, or do you think it's best for people to sort of get over to the States or the UK and have a bit of experience over there? Is that where the real opportunities are?
I think it makes sense to stay here because we have a small infrastructure in the arts, and you can get places quicker. You're going to be lost if you head over to London or LA at an early age. You'll be lost in the mix. Here we have an opportunity here to make it faster and to learn the craft better, I guess. But once you get to a certain point, you'll also find you'll hit a ceiling quicker here. And I think you'll know when you've hit a ceiling. When, for example, for me doing comedy, even back in those early days, I was doing 3 gigs a week, and by the Saturday night, I'd have some members of the audience who are, although still enjoying the act, would say, "I love this, but I did see you do this on Tuesday," and so I kind of like, okay, I might need to branch out. So there was that point where I thought, well, I need to go overseas.
So give it time and then potentially make the move.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And what's it like being in New Zealand in the American film industry? Is it how different are the two industries?
Well, I'm a unique case because I really play the New Zealand card in Hollywood. I don't change my accent to American when I go to auditions. I don't become an American. I'm a comedian, so as a comic actor, I'm in a smaller group of people, and they all know what I've done or who I am, pretty much. And so because of my management and agency, when I go in there, they're told, okay, this is Rhys, this is how he's gonna do it. And so I've got a smaller niche market of, okay, well, do we want a New Zealander in this ancient Greek film? Because he's not going to change his voice for you. No. Are you sure? Because I thought there was a Kiwi back in those days doing I'll check, I'll Google it. So really, otherwise you go over there and for these New Zealand and Australian actors that are just sort of going over there by the shipload, are then, pretty much becoming Americans straight away so that they can go into the rooms with an American accent so that, the casting directors straight away think that they're Americans. Because if they think you're from New Zealand or Australia, just to give an example of of us, straight away you're on the back foot because they know you're having to put an accent on. So from my perspective, I don't do that, and so I don't go for those kind of roles. I mean, I could, but yeah, I'm separate to that degree. I don't know whether it would work for other Kiwis, but they are opening up to a lot more of the New Zealand accent in shows in America now. So,
and is the industry more about natural talent, who you know, or a bit of both? What can people sort of do to accelerate their success in the field?
It's definitely about natural talent, and that really shines through. And you can, I'd say it would be a 60-40, definitely 40% who you know and what strings you've pulled. But if you've got the 60% talent that you need, then you'll come through the gates. If you haven't got that, you're either not going to last or you're not going to get in the room. You really need those people to open the doors, and then if you've got the goods, you'll be fine. There's a lot of people, I guess, that have an immense talent, but if they haven't had themselves organised in the right way, they're still not going to make it.
And was it intimidating for you being on your first professional film set, and how did you overcome that?
Oh, look, I just really was a mixture of flabbergasted and dreamy, because my first feature film, my first film was with Jim Carrey, and I'd idolised him since a kid, watched all his films, hoped to one day meet the guy, and there I was a few years later, then acting with him. So for me, it just didn't seem real. And even when I watch the film, it looks like I've been superimposed into a movie, or I'd won a competition, and I got to stand next to him. Quick, film it! So it's funny when I still look at that. But yeah, it's just one thing led to another, and I guess because I was riding on the wave of the Flight of the Conchords, I was ready to take on anything, and I was meeting everyone I met, no matter how big they were and their celebrity status, they, were appreciative, and they really, really enjoyed my work on Flight of the Conchords. So I was kind of just accepting that, there wasn't much starstruckness coming on. So and as I said, from this early onset, when I believed that I should be in these places, when I got there, I was prepared,
ready for it.
Yeah.
Okay. And was it hard transferring skills from on stage to on camera, as such, from sort of comedy routines to feature films?
Yeah, you definitely had to be a lot more subtle. And on stage, everything's a bit bigger. And I was used to doing quite flamboyant kind of physical stand-up comedy. And then when I got into television acting, particularly, obviously the Conchords, very, very different to what I've been doing. So all of a sudden I'm behind a desk, and I'm subtle, and I'm doing sort of I guess minimalistic kind of awkward humour, which is certainly not what I did on stage. But so I had to switch to that, and I enjoyed the realism of the acting we did there. And then I just carried on from there. And when I went into films, I just picked that up. So yeah, Jermaine helped me a lot with that. He said, don't do your big eyes, everything, minimalise it down. And so I've got a lot to him to thank for.
Yeah. So you're saying before it was pretty surreal when you finally got onto some of those film sets. Do you still get nervous in auditions today and going along to new roles? Oh
yeah, auditions is still the most nerve-wracking thing, because potentially this could be a big job. It could be a fantastic show, and it could be the thing that you're known for. And especially when you read it and you think, "Oh, this is perfect for me," that's when it's really nerve-wracking, because you ask anyone, even the greats that have been working for decades, they'll still get a horrible battle of the nerves when they look at something and they feel that this would be perfect for them, and they go in there, and sometimes I say to the people as I go in there, "Hi everyone, this is perfect for me," and then I know straight away that I'm going to blow it, and then I'll do it, and I'll go, "Okay, thank you," and I'll walk away going, and bring them back. That would have been perfect. Thank you, Mr. Darby. And then I find out who got it, and it's my nemesis. And but anyway. I don't have the answer to how you battle your nerves for auditions. I've lost my nerves for other things, live stuff, and even once I'm on the set, I'm completely fine. But yeah, auditions are hard. I mean, sometimes you can film your audition and send it in on a tape, but then it's never as good as actually being there in front of them, because when they want to see you.
So this is a very open question. We touched on this before. What does it take to achieve in your field?
It takes a lot of self-belief, I would say. Self-belief and perseverance, and obviously confidence goes hand in hand, and a lot of practice, and really, and I guess personality and charm. You've got to have everything going for you. And you've just got to be, at the end of the day, and most importantly, be a nice person. And I think that chi, if you will, shines through, and good things happen to good people. But you've got to have those skills.
Yeah, that's definitely something that sort of is a feature of a few people I've interviewed. Jason Gunn had the exact same thing to say. Just don't be a and things follow.
And every famous celebrity actor that I've met has been a really nice person. Yeah. Despite some tales that people say behind people's backs.
So a few quick fire questions to finish. What would the 16-year-old boy you were think of the man you've become? Would he recognise you?
That's a great question. I think he would. I think he'd go, "Yep, that's him. There's me. I knew you'd make it." Yeah, I really think he would. And I'm proud that I've done what he'd hoped.
Yeah, great. And in terms of acting, what's your dream still to come?
Dream, I guess, would be to write and star in my own successful feature film and have a few sequels and have a character that, or a couple of characters that can become iconic in cinema history.
Are New Zealanders enough following their passions and dreams and getting out there and doing what they want to do?
I think for a small population and a couple of islands next to Antarctica, I think they are. Yeah, I think we're go-getters. We get out there and we achieve things, and you know, back in the day we did it quietly, and these days we're sort of maybe doing it a bit more loudly.
Cool, and thanks for that, Rhys. So do you think, just to finish off, do you think you could do a bit of a sit-down robot for us?
A sit-down robot, okay?
What are your wise words for the people of New Zealand?
My wise words for the people of New Zealand are: be yourself, be someone else, do it, and then be yourself again.
Rhys Darby, thank you very much. Cheers.